False amigos can be tricky. Look, many people think embarazada means embarrassed, but it actually means pregnant.
I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because, let's be real, we are tackling one of the most fascinating but honestly kind of frustrating parts of language learning. We are diving so deeply into mastering deceptive words in Spanish. If you've ever felt totally betrayed by your own vocabulary mid-conversation, trust me, you are in exactly the right place. So what exactly is a falso cognado or a false friend? Well, because English and Spanish share so many Latin roots, we're super lucky to have a ton of true cognates. You know, those amazing words that look identical and mean the exact same thing. But then we have these little tricksters. False friends are words that look perfectly identical or incredibly similar in both languages, but they have completely and sometimes shockingly different meanings. We really need this detailed breakdown today because while those true twins are wonderful, it's the false friends that will totally betray you right when you're in the middle of a beautiful conversation. Mastering the deep nuances of these words, that is the ultimate secret to speaking effortlessly, naturally, and with total confidence.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. Number 1, el engaño de los cognados. Number 2, errores que causan vergüenza. 3, tiempo, tamaños y cantidades. 4, lugares y objetos cotidianos. 5, acciones, emociones y eventos. And finally, number 6, domina tus nuevas palabras. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Errores que causan vergüenza, or embarrassing mistakes.
Okay, I am warning you with all the love in my heart. These specific words are the absolute classic mistake that almost every single Spanish learner makes, and they lead to some incredibly awkward situations. First up, we have embarazada. It looks exactly like the English word embarrassed, right? I know, but it actually only applies to women and it means pregnant. The actual translation for feeling embarrassed is avergonzada. So, this is absolutely crucial. Do not mix these up. Imagine looking at a friend and saying, "Why are you embarrassed to be pregnant?" but using the wrong words. You literally end up saying, "¿Por qué estás avergonzada de estar embarazada?" That is a deeply nuanced sentence, and you definitely want to get it right to save yourself some serious blushing.
Oh my goodness, this next one is just hilarious, and honestly, so uncomfortable. Constipado versus constipated. Listen, if you tell your sweet Spanish-speaking friends you are constipado, they're going to bring you a warm bowl of chicken soup because it just means you have a cold. That's it, just a little cold. But if you actually want to express that you are, well, medically backed up, constipated, the word you need is estreñido or estreñida. Our source material gives us this hilariously awkward scenario of a poor woman trying to say, not only do I have a cold, but I am also constipated, which literally translates to, no solo estoy constipado, sino que también estoy estreñida. Can you even imagine? What a thoroughly unpleasant day that would be.
Now let's talk about matching your intensity. Disgusto versus disgust. In Spanish, a disgusto is just an annoyance or a displeasure. It's something that just kind of bothers you, like a minor inconvenience. It is absolutely not the English word disgust. If you want to express actual, profound revulsion or deep disgust in Spanish, you have to use words like asco or repugnancia. So for example, if you want to say, that is disgusting, you wouldn't use disgusto at all. You would dramatically say, eso es asqueroso. You always want to keep that intensity level perfectly matched to your actual emotions. Otherwise, people might not take your grossed out reaction seriously.
Our final embarrassing mistake for this section is a really big one. Groceria versus grocery. Look, a groceria has absolutely nothing to do with buying your fresh vegetables. It actually means rudeness or a curse word. If you are out running errands and looking for a grocery store, you are looking for a tienda de comestibles. To paint a really vivid picture for you so you never ever forget this nuance, just imagine an angry man screaming at the supermarket. In Spanish, you would beautifully narrate that crazy scene by saying, en la tienda de comestibles había un señor muy grosero diciendo groserías. So he was at the grocery store, being rude, saying curse words. See how that works?
Moving right along to Section 2, tiempo, tamaños y cantidades. That's time, sizes, and quantities. Let's meticulously walk through these tricky little time traps. First up, actualmente. It looks exactly like actually, right? But it strictly means currently or right now. If you want to express actually, as in fact, you must use en realidad or de hecho. Then we have últimamente. This absolutely does not mean ultimately, it means recently or lately. If you want to say ultimately or in the end, the perfectly correct Spanish is al final or por último. So let's put it together. If you want to powerfully express, currently his health is very serious and, actually, I don't think he will improve, you would say, actualmente su estado de salud es muy grave y, en realidad, no creo que mejore. Precision is literally everything when you're expressing time.
Okay, look at the sheer size of this number on your screen. 12 zeros. When you see un billón in Spanish, your brain immediately wants to translate it to the English 1 billion. But please, don't do it. A Spanish billón is a million millions. It's actually a trillion in English. The English 1 billion is just 1,000 millions, which in Spanish is precisely said as mil millones. So a Spanish billón is massively, massively larger than an English billion. That is a gigantic mathematical false friend that can completely, totally change the entire meaning of your sentence, especially if you're talking about money or data.
Here is another incredibly common size mix-up that trips up so many dedicated learners. Largo versus large. Listen, largo simply means long. It has absolutely nothing to do with being wide or bulky or big. If you want to say something is large, the gorgeous Spanish word you actually want is grande. To clarify this perfectly, let's imagine a massive, beautiful dining room piece of furniture. You can beautifully say, esa mesa es muy grande y también es muy larga. That table is very large, and it is also very long. See? Two completely distinct concepts working together in perfect harmony.
Now for Section 3. Lugares y objetos cotidianos. Everyday places and objects.
We have 4 major traps here that literally surround us every single day. First, a carpeta is not a carpet, it's a folder for your important documents. A cozy carpet that sits on your floor is an alfombra. Next, a fábrica is a factory, not fabric. If you want some beautiful fabric to sew clothes, you need tela. And you guys, I have to confess, just like our source creator Paula, I made this next mistake myself so many times when I was learning. Librería versus library. A librería is a bookstore. It's a wonderful place to buy books. But a library, where you quietly borrow books for free, is a biblioteca. Think about it. Why don't you read the book in the biblioteca instead of buying it at the librería? See that wonderful difference? And finally, parada is a stop, like a bus stop. It is not a parade. A vibrant, loud, fun parade is a desfile.
To really cement that last concept deep in your mind, let's practice this beautiful sentence together. Te espero en la parada de autobús para ir juntos al desfile. I'll wait for you at the bus stop to go to the parade together. Just rolling that off your tongue with a nice, natural, conversational pacing shows you exactly how to elegantly use both parada and desfile in a single, perfectly clear thought. We are already at Section 4, acciones, emociones y events, actions, emotions, and events. Let's do this.
Okay, we really need to break down these essential verbs with some detailed care because we use them constantly in daily conversation. Introducir means to insert, like inserting a bank card into an ATM. If you want to introduce yourself to someone new, that's presentarse. Realizar means to perform or carry out a task beautifully. To realize a sudden fact in your mind is darse cuenta. Recordar is to remember a fond memory or to remind someone of something. But if you want to record a fun video on your phone, you use the verb gravar. And finally, I deeply, deeply want to emphasize soportar. It doesn't mean to support, it means to tolerate or put up with something. If you want to lovingly support someone financially or emotionally, you use apoyar. The source actually gives a lovely kind of cheeky example right here. I hope you are all tolerating, soportando, this explainer, and that you will intimately continue to support, apoyar, the work.
Let's jump right into these final concepts. Lectura is the quiet, lovely act of reading a book. It is not a lecture. A university lecture is a conferencia. Moving on, sensible in Spanish describes a sensitive or deeply emotional person. A sensible, reasonable person who makes good, practical choices is sensato. Suceso is simply an event that happens, it's not a success. And for the grand finale of our false friends, éxito. It does not mean exit. Oh my gosh, do not follow the éxito sign to leave a building. Éxito means glorious success, while the actual exit door you walk through is the salida. There's a brilliant quote from a Venezuelan TV commercial mentioned in our source that highlights this irony absolutely perfectly. It says, Tener éxito no es la salida a tus problemas. Having success is not the exit to your problems. How incredibly clever is that?
And finally, Section 6, domina tus nuevas palabras. Master your new words.
I want to give you a massive, heartfelt congratulations for getting through this incredibly detailed, nuanced list with me today. By understanding these tricky little traps so deeply, you are taking a giant leap in upgrading your beautiful vocabulary. You are officially not going to let these false friends betray you anymore. Now, I want to leave you with this fun, provocative thought. ¿Conoces otros falsos amigos que no mencionamos hoy? Do you know other false friends we didn't mention today? Because there are certainly more out there lurking in the dictionary. I challenge you to think of other deceptive words, stay vigilant, and boldly, passionately apply your newly refined Spanish skills out in the real world.
Did you enjoy learning Spanish, false friends? Then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fun Spanish lessons. Nos vemos, amigos!